So the media days are ongoing. This week it was SEC, Big Ten starts next week in Las Vegas. Illinois will go. It's on Tuesday, and IlliniGuys football writer analyst Matt Stevens will be there in the house, and so we'll have reports on IlliniGuys.com. But Mike, we were talking about this about the commissioner Greg Sankey. It's funny, most of the SEC, it feels like they want to stay at 8 games. Sankey, the commissioner, came out this week and said he's in favor of the SEC adding a ninth conference game.
Well, I would think that has to come because you would think that the TV networks came to him and said, you guys play another week of games, which will give us at least probably 3 really good ones. We're going to pay you this big of a stack of money that was just huge. And he's got to be thinking, well, that's what my bosses want, is more revenue, because that's what the whole game is nowadays, is revenue stream. But I think there's a little hitch in the giddy up, and that's the fact that the coaches and the teams don't necessarily want another hard game, I guess, Larry. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he even said that means the coaches have to coach harder. Which I thought was
playing Fordham the last week of the season is not too, that's just not hard enough.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to see what they're talking about here because, if you play a ninth game, that's a bigger chance for a loss. And we already saw the difference between if you're 10-2 and if you're, like Indiana was last year, if you're 9-3, like Ole Miss was. And so they're making that comment. So to me, clearly that's the thing, is that, well, we want to make sure we get the 10 wins until you can prove the strength of schedule is there. The thing is, with the massive schedules, after the expanded conferences, you can't control strength of schedule within the conference because you don't know, which year. Again, this year, Illinois, on paper going in, they have an easier schedule than what they did last year, right? So you can't control that. So if you can't control strength of schedule in conference, and you don't want that extra loss out of conference, just in case your schedule's tougher, let's play another easier team, and that way we try to get to 10 wins, which increases our chance of getting to the college football playoff.
Yeah, and I think part of this is they use the rankings. The rankings have so much to do with how these voters feel about it. And let's be honest, I think the rankings, people just look at it and they go, oh, 10 wins, they must be really good, and don't really look at it because Indiana has made sure they don't play anybody in their non-conference schedule for similar reasons. To me, you want the strength of schedule. We'll see that at play, I think, as it'll get more important as the years go on. But I think that ninth game would be a huge television draw. And for whatever issues, that at the top line, people are still looking at the dollars going into the bank account. And to me, that would be worth it. And as a football fan, I want another week that might mean I get to see Alabama and Georgia, which obviously they don't want. But as a fan, I'm all for that.
I think it's interesting that the one year they finally go without divisions because, like you said, Alabama and Georgia almost never played in the regular season. And now you have a chance to do that because they're actually playing a little more of a round robin, if you will, over several years. Just like the Big Ten is doing as well. But yeah, I don't think that they're going to make a decision on this until November. They're going to try to get into the season because it's too small of a sample size. They just have just a 1 year. Let's get into the college football rankings in October. Let's see how that looks. And then we'll try to decide in November because they have till December 1st to make a decision what they're going to do. There's a chance they also could stay at 12 teams. Although, let's face it, I know that someone has shown them, a peek at the numbers of what financially they could do if they expand to 16 in 2026. That feels almost inevitable. But Sankey did say that he and Petitti have talked. In fact, in his comments on Monday, he said he and Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti talked 4 times in 5 days last week. So they're having conversations all the time. But again, they see a different way. Like you said, the SEC wants the 5+11 model in the playoff. Petitti wants the automatic 4 bids for the Big Ten, 4 for the SEC, and then 8 at large for everybody else, or more of those conferences too. So we'll see. I don't think we'll have a decision before down to the deadline in late November.
And I do think that with ESPN's partnership, SEC is thinking if there's 5+11, we're going to get as many of the 11 as possible because we'll have ESPN pushing our product, and that's what gets a lot of the views. It's not a bad strategy. And I will say one thing, Sankey is extremely good at working the press. He
Yeah.
is a wizard at doing that. We'll see how good Tony Petiti is.
Yeah, he gets his turn next week, and he knows the press. A former exec with CBS Sports for several years. There's no question about that. Hey, want to get another thing too? Memphis, no surprise here, 2-year probation. The Memphis program. We joke about different programs in trouble. That Kansas, they're the Teflon Don. That no matter what they do, they never get in trouble. Kentucky, et cetera. We hear about those things, the different programs. But Michigan's been in trouble. But it's funny that Memphis over the years, it goes back decades, back in the 80s with Dana Kirk and Baskerville Holmes. And, go back in the 70s. This is a program, Calipari, that has been corrupt over years. And here they are once again, a 2-year probation because they had softball players doing work for men's basketball players and getting paid for it.
Oops. I hate to say it, but it's really just par for the course over time, as you've stated. It seems like every time that they get good or have a rise, the joke is, oh, so there's only X amount of time before they go on probation. And unfortunately, it's proven to be true. And you just got to wonder at some point, people complain about Josh Whitman wanting to be compliant. But you do wonder if maybe there was just a little bit of a compliance office with a little bit of teeth. Maybe over the years, Memphis would have avoided a few of those.
Yeah, yeah. It just seems like there's always something there. They had the Final Four of 2008 vacated, because of Derrick Rose and some legal payments made there, and Calipari tried to deny his involvement, and now here we are with Penny and getting this. And given this is not giving players money, but it's certainly academic. By the way, the person who was in charge of the academic program at the time, who admitted to this, admitted it was wrong, she has been put on a 10-year show cause. So at least she can't pay any other players to do work for players. So that's a good thing. At least she can't until 2035. So there you go. Okay, hey, hang with us. We've got Kedrick Prince. I was looking out the window right here of our state-of-the-art studios here at IlliniGuys.com and Illini Guys worldwide broadcast facilities, and I see the horse tied up outside, which means Kedrick is in the building. Kedrick's in the building, so we can't wait for that. So Kedrick Prince, he is up next here on the Sports Spectacular, powered by IlliniGuys.com.